Alrighty, so daily recap of what happened yesterday in the market. Um, so DH4, let's start with the daily. Let's start with EU on the daily. So the daily is bearish. We were expecting price to potentially pull back to one of the supplies in EQ, right? And that's exactly what happened. So we were bullish, expecting price to potentially reach the EQ. H4 price is bearish, swing is bearish, internal is bullish. We're in phase C, looking to take price potentially to mitigate that EQ. So that was still our internal low, and price just swept it, but didn't really close above. So we could have expected price to just respect it and push to the upside, respect internal structure and push to the upside. M15 swing is bullish, right? Internal was bullish at that time. We just had our boss, sorry. And the day before, we just had an IBOS and price was reaching to downside, pushing to downside, right? And yeah, there was no real entry because the day opened around here at 6 p.m. at 6 a.m. Our session, well, we just swept all these lows, right? Created and generated a lot of liquidity. Also generated a lot of liquidity above. It was NFP day, so I was expecting that sort of momentum to the upside to kick in. What happened is that price just didn't get any chalk, but started creating that fractal structure to the upside, consolidated for a bit, gave us a boss, and then once NFP hit, price mitigated that demand and then pushed to the upside and broke our M15 swing high and swept all these highs right there. So everything as expected. I was expecting that since last week, and I knew that once NFP hit, we'll just sweep all these highs, and that's exactly what happened. So let me just update the chart. So that would be our swing high now, right? That'll be our swing high. Sorry, our swing low, strong swing low. And do we have any demands? Yeah, we do. We do have this unmitigated demand right there. It was the last unmitigated demand before we had that big momentum to the upside. We have this extreme demand right here, right? This doesn't have any inducement. Okay. This has inducement, the extreme one, so there you go. Looking at price right now, we didn't get any choke. We could see some sort of pullback, right? But for that, I need another IBOS, right? And then price mitigate some sort of supply and look for sales to potentially target the EQ or the first demand. So let me just draw my EQ line. It would be something like that. We didn't hit it yet, but we could at any moment. What about the H4? All right, H4, we had an IBOS there, right? That's supposed to be our IBOS. So boom. There we have a new internal low, which is that one right there. Let's put it there. And do you have any new demand? I mean, the only unmitigated demand that I can see is that one, right? It's small. I don't like it, but I mean, it's the only one that I can see. So yeah. And that would be our internal H4. Perfect. And yeah, we just broke to the upside with one leg. And yeah, so that's everything that happened on EU. What about our internal structure? I would say that our internal structure is down there because, well, we had an IBOS there with just one candle, so our internal is just back there. So I would personally reset our internal structure and just count that as if we break that low, then it'll be our internal structure would be reset for me at least. So yeah, that's what I'm expecting. Price to potentially start the pullback, give us an IBOS, and then mitigate any of the supplies and look for sells. And yeah, so that's for EU. Let's go to GU now. What happened with GU? GU, same thing, same overview as we always had, which is daily swing is bullish, internal is bullish, mitigated demand, looking for price to push higher. H4 swing is bullish as well, internal is bullish, looking to break that weak swing high, and follow internal until we break that high. Yeah, so that's what I'm expecting for now. Our internal structure is still the same. That's being our internal low. That's being our internal weak high. We mitigated demand, had a lot of rejections. Today we came in, had an eye chalk right there, but it didn't matter at all because we just had another eye chalk with NFP. So coming into the M15, our swing is bullish, internal is bullish, right? But we had an IBOS the day before. I knew that these internal structures are just structures to basically, get some liquidity so that NFP can sweep them all. But did we get any entry potentially on that day? I think we did, but it's not very high probability. Why? I'll explain. So that was our swing high, our internal high. We consolidated for a bit. It doesn't have an inducement, so we could see a sweep of that high, right? Coming to session around 7:30 p.m. 7 half past 7 a.m. We just had that chalk and close below, so that's just a liquidity sweep, right? And then we had that chalk right there, the M15 chalk. So once you get that M15 chalk, that's my third strategy. I'm not sure what to call it yet, but I will backtest it this week just so I can see what to call it. But it's basically once we sweep a high or a low, and then we shift the opposite direction followed by a chalk, right? So if you got the entry, you'll get tagged and you'll be in for 1 to 3. If perhaps you waited until we mitigated that last supply before the break, that flip, then your entry would have been somewhere right there, stops above the high, and you'll get a 1 to 3 easily there. Of course, after we get the chalk, it's very rare that we have any sort of LC1 or LC2A. If you get that, sure, perfect. If not, then you just take the entry, right? So, and yeah, that was I think the only entry that we had. Did we have another one? But it's not valid, right? As I said, it's not valid. Yeah, I expect we had that LC1 right there as well. The LC1, but it's not worth it at all. Yeah, just from that supply. But the supply didn't sweep any liquidity, just a supply right there. We failed to close below the internal low, so I wouldn't be keen. I wouldn't be happy to take that trade. Also, why did I say that this trade is very low probability, that trade, following the internal? Well, our M15 is bullish. Why are you trying to short against the M15? Doesn't make sense. We know that NFP is coming, so we know that we are just generating some liquidity for us to push higher, and that's exactly what happened. So why am I looking for sells? That doesn't make sense, right? So, but if it was in other scenario, that'll be a very good trade. And yeah, so ideally 1 to 3, but for that we need a clear direction, and here we don't have any clear direction, right? We're counter trend, past EQ, we don't have anything to do really. That's not really a high probability trade at all. So what did we get after? Well, we got an IBOS here after news, that being our internal low, right? And yeah, now we failed to close above the M15 weak high. So I just removed that one. So for now, we failed to close above it, right? We had chalk right there. That's our chalk. There, we respected the supply for now. And yeah, so let's see if, but the issue is that we had another chuck to the upside. Um, right. We had another chuck to the downside, another to the upside, and then we're just basically just creating some structure. So what I would like to see is something like another leg to the downside and then follow that internal structure until we get more momentum to push to the upside. Or else just push to the upside and then I'll reset structure and wait for my IBOS, my normal IBOS. So um, that's basically what I'm looking at. But yeah, for now we have that as our internal low. We have one demand right there, which was the last demand before the NFP, and we have the last extreme, which is that one. And yeah, so let's see what price will do for next week. Very good analysis here. We traded all the way till we got that boss. Very good trades. Got a lot of opportunities, a lot of wins. And yeah, so let's see if next week would be the same.